Hi guys, Game Talk NEC Ajax 0-1. Kabir, you watched the game the same way we did. It's a script all over again from recent weeks. It's like you're putting in a movie, you know how it's gonna go, and at the end you feel relieved, you feel good because it ended well. But should we be critical about what's happening to Ajax in recent weeks, or should we be like, you know what, just spray that PSV, just loses points these coming weeks so we can get it over with? What's your stance on the whole situation, what's happening with Ajax right now?
I think we can be critical. I think we deserve to be critical. I think that the heights that Ajax have hit previously this season, but also in previous seasons under Ten Hag, shows the level that we can reach. And it's very clear that actually we haven't been hitting those heights for quite some time now. If it was just today, you could say, fine, scrappy win away, NEC, not the easiest place to play, but this is actually a pattern that's developed now over the last month and a half. It's culminated in some scrappy wins. It's culminated in a loss in the final of the Dutch Cup. So I think we can be critical, but also I think we need to be realistic at the same time. I think we're coming to the end of a season, and I think the most important thing is just the 3 points, because at the end of the day, I think I may have said in a previous podcast as well, when we are lifting the trophy, and if we do become champions of Holland, I think no one's going to actually care how we got there, but we were there for a reason. So that's the important thing. We're winning. But I think we can also be critical, right? We're Ajax at the end of the day. And, with all due respect to NEC Nijmegen, we should be going there and winning pretty comfortably. But we're not. And we haven't done it today, and we haven't done it previously. So I think that I'm somewhere in the middle, to be honest.
Yeah, understood. Look, I want your opinion about two things. There was a post-match interview, of course, with Ten Hag and Tadic, and I want your opinion about what they said. It's very interesting because I had the chance to listen to it prior to our talk right now. So I'll go with Ten Hag first. Ten Hag said one of his explanations why it's going so scrappy, as you mentioned, or not like our goals, not scoring many goals, not the same as the first half of the season, these kind of things, is because of the fact that we're losing so many players and we're changing a lot. And he literally said we're using bandages right now to make the team work. What's your thought on that comment from Ten Hag? Do you understand what he's saying?
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. He's got a point. It's a fact, but I also don't want it to sort of, distract from the point that actually, regardless of the type of team we put out, we should still be pretty much good enough for a majority of the teams in the league. I understand we're coming towards the end of a long season. I understand there have been a lot of distractions around the squad, and we haven't been able to play with our strongest 11. And that will have an impact, right? That'll have an impact if that happens at Barcelona, Madrid, Liverpool, PSG, whoever. Yeah. So that's something to be factored in, fair enough. But I also don't think that this should now become a point that every time we struggle to win, we're saying, oh, there's because there's this, there's because of that, there's something here, there's something there. No, I think that we should actually understand that as Ajax, the team that we put out should be comfortably winning these types of games.
Yeah, but being devil's advocate right now, if you look at our starting 11, start of the season, and you look at what we have right now, what we started with this today, there are a lot of players missing, to be honest. The whole right side is gone. Licha is not there. Alvarez is not there.
Yeah.
We're pushing Blind to the center, which he hasn't played this season, more or less.
Yeah.
So a lot of shifting going on, to a certain extent, we should understand also what Ten Hag means. If you shift 1 or 2 players, maybe 3, that's already too, that's already has impact on the team. But this is almost half of your team.
It is almost half of your team. And that's why I'm saying, also I think that we should be appreciative of the fact that we are still, getting the result over the line, and that we're still coming up with the 3 points. Yeah. So fully aware of that and fully appreciate that. And then that's why I'm saying, I don't think it's an excuse. He's merely stating a fact.
True.
But I also think that, there shouldn't be that much emphasis put on it. I think that, my point is that, with all due respect, the teams that we've struggled with recently, the Go-Aheads, the Spartas, the NECs, these are teams that really and truly, regardless of who we put out there, we should be able to deal with it comfortably. And we're not. So I think that points to a much deeper problem. But of course, I take on board what he's saying, and he's absolutely right. The personnel has changed. And when you take the core out of any team, it's not going to have the requisite effect, and it's going to have a detrimental effect.
Yeah, going into those deeper problems, Tadic said something very interesting as well in the post-match interview. He said that the Champions League kind of gave them a boost, to go into the eredivisie games and perform well. They were like, it shows, like, it gives you like a shot of adrenaline basically throughout the week or throughout the season. And the disappointment has been so big, basically, I'm loosely translating what he's saying, that the disappointment is bigger than they anticipated, basically being knocked out from the Champions League by Benfica. And he didn't really say that this is the main effect, because of what we're seeing, but he did mention it, he did specify it. And then quickly he said, yeah, but it doesn't matter, we have to become champions. How do you look at that?
I think it's I think, I understand where he's coming from. I think that, look, I don't think that any of these guys are really and truly going to be triggered or are going to be able to get 100% out of themselves by playing Sparta, by playing NEC, by playing Go Ahead, by playing, with all due respect, the less, sexy teams in the eredivisie, right? It's human nature. I think that a lot of these players were able to perform above their level in a platform like the Champions League. So I think that fair enough for his honesty, but I think also that being at Ajax and just having the base level of quality that these players have, even if they are playing 10, 20% under their level, they should really still not be having any issues with the types of clubs that we have been having issues with. Yeah. And I think that, especially now at this stage in the season, there's such a big prize, right, waiting at the finishing line, and we're very close to the finishing line. That should be the motivation and the drive to be able to get them to play at a high level. So I understand where he's coming from, just like I understand where Ten Hag's coming from, but I still feel that, these things should be put aside. They're professional football players.
Yeah. How about form? I want to ask you about today. If you look at today's game, any players you want to highlight in terms of form? Some players peaked, some players didn't perform well. Just quickly, your view on this, your thoughts.
Yeah, look, I think even a blind man could have seen that Berghuis had a shocking game.
Yeah, I heard he was injured actually. He got injured during this week, during training, and he didn't even train yesterday prior to the game or the day before. So it was a bit of a gamble by Ten Hag, and you could see now it makes all sense in hindsight that he didn't play well. He wasn't fit. So anyways.
No, I understand that. And I think that might be a reason for why he didn't play well today. But I think also if you look at his general form in the past few weeks, it's been very poor. And now I'm starting to think myself that the level that he reached or that he was hitting when he first joined Ajax and the level that he's at now in these past few weeks, I think actually it's probably somewhere in the middle. Probably not as good as he was when he was playing very well. And he's probably not as bad as he is now. He's probably somewhere in the middle. But certainly I'll put him down as someone that's out of form. I think Haller is also woefully out of form. I think it's, what does he add to the play? What does he add to the team when he's not scoring goals? Actually, probably not a lot. You look at Tadic as well, moping around, missing the penalty today as well. Really, really, really bad penalty, actually, to be honest. I mean, I think most players at amateur level would have hit the ball better than he did, but that was lack of confidence. That was lack of form, right? Yep. You also saw him making a sort of a religious gesture before. How many times have you seen him do that? Almost like he's asking for a higher being to help him.
I thought prior to shooting the ball, you could see he was hesitating a little bit.
He was, and that purely is for people. I mean, class is permanent, right? Form is temporary. These guys can play football. There's no doubting that. But it's evident that a lot of them are out of form. And then, okay, fine, Blind, he's been talked about quite a bit. I think he played well enough today. Klaassen did okay-ish well enough. I think Gravenberch, certainly someone who you can talk about positively. He obviously had a dip. He's come out of it, and he's performing very well. Timber, class as per usual. And I think Robbie, very encouraging signs. I know he came on in the second half, but he was present, he was busy, and he ultimately scored the winning goal.
What about Taylor?
Sorry?
What about Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor actually, good that you mentioned him. I thought he played really well. I thought that he was able to bring the form across from young Ajax. He showed some really good glimpses when he came on against Sparta at home the other week, and he's brought that on in today's match as well. Again, very sort of busy midfielder. You can see that he's that real link between sort of defense and attack. He's very good on the ball. So I think a very typical classic Ajax, a player that Ajax have brought up from their own academy. So he was showing good glimpses. So yeah, I think that's probably what I would say in terms of form, bad and good.
And how thankful should we be for Stekelenburg saving us for that first shot?
Yeah, well,
he deserves a mention. He deserves a mention, especially. I also said this to Papimento earlier. He has been out the whole season. It hasn't been easy for him. We didn't even know he was coming back. And the whole Onana situation. He comes back. He has to play the cup final now again. I mean, we have to give him respect for the way he is playing.
We have to give him respect. And actually, I read an interview in an article the other day where he was saying he was pretty sure he wasn't going to play any part this season, but he did. And he, it just goes to show. I think with a keeper, it's a little bit different. I mean, probably the older you get, look at Pasveer, the more you're like a fine wine. You get more experience. You understand actually your game better, and it just goes to show he bailed us out today on a couple of occasions. And also, it was nice to see his passion. There was a period in play where Berghuis was, ball was played through his legs, and his opponent was able to get away, get a good pass, and then Stekelenburg got really angry, and that's nice to see, right? That's coaching. That means he's involved, he's engaged. This Absolutely. Is very important stuff.
Absolutely. Look, wrapping everything up, looking at the remaining 4 games, what's the biggest takeaway from you regarding this match or regarding the whole Ajax season so far? Whatever you want to touch upon.
Look, I think as Ajax fans, certainly myself, I'm not going to go into any of these games with any great expectation in terms of style of play. And I think fellow Ajax fans sort of probably also feel the same way. We shouldn't go in thinking that we're going to roll teams over. That's a thing of the past, right? That's a level that we reached that I don't think we're going to get back at all this season. But what I am going to take away from this, and what I've taken away from the last sort of 5-6 league games, is when it matters, we are getting games over the line. And I think that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, we could play well and draw or lose, and we'll be so angry. We're not playing well, but we're getting the win. And I will always take that over the other option.